Hi, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology, and today all things Cancer Descendant, what a Capricorn rising is looking for in love, relationships, and connections, to best understand what it is that we are looking for, to balance out our energy, to supplement where we could feel deficient, what our perfect match is within astrology. We look to the Descendant, and it's important that within this series, we're not just explaining the higher vibration of this, how this can manifest in terms of your perfect match, right? Your ideal soulmate, your perfect other. This also will describe individuals you could be drawn to for better and for worse. So also being mindful of these red flags or shadow sides of how this energy can manifest so that you can ensure you are choosing the best embodiment of the Cancer energy that we will be breaking down. And I do want to highlight before we dive deeper is that it's not that you physically need to be with a Cancer. It is just saying that when it comes to relationships, someone who embodies Cancerian energy in some way is helpful for you. So they might have a strong lunar presence within their chart. They may have some Cancer placements, or you'll find as you look deeper into your descendant ruler, I'll share steps of how to find that, you'll find someone who embodies that energy is important for you personally. And if you wouldn't mind, if you gain any value from this video, consider dropping a like, commenting below, subscribing. Any of the buttons truly down there are so appreciated for me to continue to create cosmic content. And without further ado, let's explore Cancer Descendant, the light side. So what I mean by the light side, I mean more so the ideal match, the best embodiment of this Cancer energy. Again, they don't physically have to be a Cancer. They could be lunar, or again, just someone who kind of embodies this energy within their world, within their chart. So with Cancer, they help balance you out, because that's why it is that we look to the Descendant. It is opposite the Ascendant. And do know I did a whole series on Ascendant, so you can dive deeper into your Capricorn rising there. But we're more so looking at the angle across from self. That is basically energy that you don't necessarily identify within yourself, so you look for in others, because it's like within relationships, we typically aren't drawn to people exactly like us. We're looking for people who are good in areas that we are not as good, or balance us out in different ways. And for you, this is described by Cancer energy. See, you as a Capricorn rising, you are hardworking, you are disciplined, you are used to taking care of yourself, you are realistic. And there even could have been a sensation, again, Capricorn rising video goes more deeply, but there could have been a feeling around you had to take care of yourself. And there could have been something harsh about your upbringing, or something where you had to be the serious one. You had to be disciplined about your world. It wasn't safe for you to always necessarily have your needs met. You had to be the strong one. You had to be the one who had it all together. You had to be the leader. You had to grow up maybe even before you were ready to necessarily. Now, when it comes to what it is that you are looking for in love, you're drawn to something different than maybe other people would be, because you are someone who is so stable and most likely has your stuff together, is so realistic. You're not necessarily looking for someone else to get all your personal needs met, because it's like you are someone where you can take care of yourself. You are strong, you are disciplined, you are realistic. You're more so looking for relationships to feel something and to be able to make up where it was that you could have felt deficient within your world or within your personality. And this is described by Cancer energy. So the first light side of Cancer Descendant is that you are looking for someone where you feel emotionally safe. Because like I said, you look at the world through this realistic lens, through this practical lens, through this hardworking lens. And whether it was told to you in childhood or you were just always the strong one, you were the one who had it all together, there is a feeling that you always have to have your guard up. So you are really looking for a connection where you just feel safe, where you can just feel genuinely held and nurtured. That is the highest embodiment of Cancer energy, is someone who allows you to not be the strong one for a second and allows you to emotionally unravel, or allows you to have that home base, that sanctuary where you can feel at ease, where you can feel at peace, where you can feel safe and soothed to an internal level. And you're likely looking for a connection that can give you that space, because it's not something that's afforded to you if you are this role around the one who's got it all together and the strong one. When it comes to relationships, people within your world may not understand what a softie you are when it comes to relationships, because it's like you're looking for that emotional home base. And since Cancer has to do with their home base, you could be drawn to someone who feels like home in a human being. Someone where it's like you can come back at the end of a day and just feel safe to unwind. Now, this could physically manifest around wanting to be in someone who is very domestic in some way, like a gifted cook, or someone who, is really gifted at being able to turn a house into a home. But it also could just symbolize, someone who makes home a more pleasant place to be. Because Capricorn has to do with outward prestige and reputation, and Cancer has to do with the more private domains of the world. So it's like you really are looking for someone who can be that home base when you get done with the day of chasing ambitions, or at least ascending to the highest of your own personal potential, right? Is the energy of Cancer. So you are looking for home in a human being. And since Cancer is associated with family, you could be drawn to someone who is family oriented, tradition oriented. That can be important to you, to have someone whose morals are aligned with yours, who want similar futures, and as well as maybe someone who is closer to their family, or wants to create a family, or wants to continue certain traditions. That will be something that you are more drawn to. And truly, you are looking for someone who makes this world feel safe, because you view the world through a very apathetic lens. You can be very hard on yourself, hard on others. And so with Cancer, you're looking for someone who makes you feel safe to feel, safe to fluctuate emotionally and energetically as well. Whether it was something put onto you or just a way you viewed yourself, there could have been an energy where it's not safe to feel. You always have to have it together. And with Cancer energy, it's allowing you the safe space to be able to ebb and flow. And maybe you are drawn to people who are more emotional, or at least more responsive. Individuals who have a high degree of emotional intelligence, who are able to read on the little cues and nurture you accordingly. You are drawn to someone who can really take care of you. And it's not to say that you can't take care of yourself, you certainly can, but it could be refreshing to be partnered with individuals who do tune in, because Cancer energy is very intuitive. It's very emotionally shrewd and responsive. Individuals who tune into you to be able to give you what it is that you need. And do keep in mind, with Descendant, this is certainly marriage partners, relationships, but it's also business partners. So you can be drawn to individuals to partner with in business who are more shrewd, who are responsive, because that's something that we often get wrong about Cancer energy. We just think of it as home, family, emotions, which certainly is the case, but Cancer is very shrewd. The ruler is the moon, which governs the general public. So oftentimes Cancers are so responsive, and they are so in tune. They're able to really tune into society, tune into trends, and respond accordingly. And with this axis, it's really dream team energy, and you can be drawn to individuals who might see the world maybe through a less pragmatic lens, but are individuals who are tuned into the fluctuations around them, and very wise, intuitive, and shrewd as a result of it. Now, to get more information on what you specifically are looking for, I want you to find the moon within your birth chart. I want you to know its sign. I want you to know its house placement and any aspects that it is making, because that will give a distinct flavor of what it is that you are looking for, your ideal other, the person who really balances you out. Because let's say I have a Cancer descendant and my moon is in Leo in the 8th house. I might be drawn to someone who, yes, exhibits Cancer energy. So is someone who is a little bit more emotionally responsive, who is nurturing. But maybe with the moon in Leo, maybe drawn to someone who's a little bit more dramatic, who's a little bit more fiery with their emotions, right? With it in the 8th house, someone who really goes deep, who really is strongly resilient and helps me through major transitions. Or let's say you are a Cancer descendant and your moon is in Pisces in the 3rd house. You could be drawn to someone who is strongly spiritual, like kind of in tune with the fluctuations that way, and maybe someone who is a writer with it in the 3rd house, or that you have really dreamy, lovely conversations around. That can give you more texture to the ideal person. And also in some astrology texts, it's considered that it can also indicate the circumstances by which you meet your marriage partner or your perfect match. So all in all, the lighter vibration of your Cancer descendant side would be drawn to someone who is truly a nurturer, who makes you feel safe, home in a human being who allows you to have this really sacred sanctuary of being able to strip the outside world, the responsibilities, the busy, harsh landscape that we need to participate every so often, and just makes you feel safe, makes you feel at ease. And keep in mind, this won't necessarily always be like a homemaker or something where you stereotypically think of someone who is very emotionally responsive, but anyone who makes you feel safe, who makes you have that private landscape where you feel safe to unravel your emotions, you feel safe to be poured into, and you feel safe to be able to build a home with them, carry on traditions with them, build a family with them, things of the nature that could be very attracted to you within a mate. Now let's get into the shadow side, because with Cancer on the Descendant, that emotional receptivity and responsiveness that I discussed, yeah, that can sometimes spiral out of control. You can sometimes be drawn to individuals who are stuck in permanent like victim mode, who, feel sorry for themselves. With Cancer Descendant, it is energy that is associated with the past, which is why they have such an appreciation for nostalgia and traditions, and why they are so kind and compassionate and will never forget one thing about you, right? But with the shadow side of this, it's individuals who perpetually refuse to handle things for themselves. Like I said, with you as a Capricorn rising, people naturally just like turn to you for help or for support. You just have an energy where it's almost like tattooed on your forehead, like, I can help you, I can fix your problems, I can be the strong one or the leader in this thing. And be mindful of partners who never want to do the work, or almost just want to live in victimhood constantly and being like, oh, my partner will pick up the slack, I don't need to do anything. Like, be mindful around choosing partners who don't genuinely want to grow. There's nothing wrong with being emotionally receptive, but really notice around people who use their past as an excuse why they can't move forward in life. Like, you as Capricorn is about building the future. Cancer is about understanding and appreciating the past. So an ideal partner is someone who, yes, appreciates the past, appreciates your guys' upbringing and ancestry, and maybe builds that into a family together. But the downside would be someone who lives consistently in the past. So this dream team, you guys are meant to balance each other out. They kind of bring you into the present moment, into nurturing and taking care of yourself. And you're meant to sort of help them in building a future together, right? But being mindful around partners who want to perpetually live in the past and don't really want to do the work, right, moving forward. I also want you to be mindful, because Cancer is the energy of family, as I highlighted, ancestry. And sometimes we can play out certain family dynamics that we have not healed within ourselves within connections, okay? And that can lead to some codependent tendencies. So it's like, choosing a mate who reminds you of your most difficult parent and trying to like fix that, right? Because as a Capricorn, you do have this lens around, how can I fix, how can I make this better? So sometimes you can want to fix your childhood or fix certain challenging family dynamics through the context of this partner, which isn't always a healthy style of relating. They can remind you of certain dynamics that you felt within the family unit, healed or unhealed. Again, this could be a beautiful example where it's like choosing a partner who does remind you of someone in your family because you really value those traditions. But the downside of it, if you did have a challenging upbringing, is choosing a partner who perpetuates that, because there's a part of your psychology that wants to fix it, that wants to make it better, right? The last thing to be mindful of is if you are using your connection as therapy. As I mentioned, you have this really tough, harsh outlook on the world. And with Cancer Descendant, sometimes relationships are your safe space that you feel like you can emotionally dump and feel at ease. But it's important that you're engaging in that in a healthy way for both parties. Again, it's like you guys are earth and water. It's alchemy. It's pouring into one another. Water nourishes earth, right? Earth creates the container of water. So it's important when we talk about Descendant, we're talking about balance truly. So all of these shadow sides are like, if they get out of balance, where it's like you have to be so harsh and so responsible and so disciplined to the external world that when it comes to your relationships, you just dump on them, right? Just like, here's all of my problems, rather than really taking the space, whether it's like going to therapy or however else we're dealing. Like, your relationship can't be your only safe space, right? In the world. It's beautiful to have that, but it's also important that your partner doesn't feel depleted of that. And by the same token, it goes both ways. Like if you are someone where you feel like your partner is constantly in their emotion, you constantly have to be the practicality, and they're not sort of integrating your practicality and your groundedness, it can also feel off balance in that way. So remember to learn from one another and allow that flow, because it can be such a nurturing, compassionate, deep union truly when this is in flow, but just being mindful of the shadow sides of how this Cancer descendant can manifest. So my loves, your ideal mate is someone who is emotionally responsive, who is a nurturer, who is someone who feels like home and a human being, who can carry on certain traditions that do mean something to you. For some, maybe even building a family with this individual, something that is important, or someone who makes you feel safe, at least to an emotional landscape, who makes you feel at ease when the world feels harsh and cruel. It's such a beautiful, I just love the Cancer Capricorn axis. I feel like both of these signs are so shrewd, albeit in different ways. So if your Capricorn rising can appreciate the Cancerian sort of partners that you are drawn to, if you can appreciate their emotional intelligence, their shrewdness in observing trends or observing emotional data from other people, and if they can learn from your intelligence, your pragmatism, your groundedness, your ability to make things happen tangibly and practically, this is alchemy. This is magic within a connection. And just another reminder, I mentioned this earlier, but I just want to say, with Cancer descendant, they don't physically have to be a Cancer. It's just an embodiment of that energy. In some way lunar, in some way Cancerian, or in some way just embodying this watery, compassionate, nurturing energy. My loves, let me know how this has shown up within your world for better and for worse. My Instagram handle is @HaleyComet Astrology. My TikTok is the same. I would so love to connect with you over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.